It's about that time. Another great episode of Man Cinema Reviews. It is your lovely host, Peter Man II. What's up, y'all? Today, as promised, I'm presenting an episode titled Leftovers. Now, these are 4 films that were either released limited in December of last year and had a wider release this year. Some films that you can currently catch in theaters, some available on Apple and Amazon Prime. Thank you very much for choosing Man Cinema Reviews. The 4 films that we're going to be talking about today: The Lost Daughter, Maggie Gyllenhaal's directorial debut. We also have The Tender Bar, helmed by George Clooney. We also have Guillermo del Toro's latest film noir, Nightmare Alley. And we're going to end things with the latest Shakespearean, Joel Cohen directed, The Tragedy of Macbeth. Before we get into those, go ahead and press like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell as well to notify you of a new review posted to the channel. I also wanted to thank you for checking out my son's latest YouTube channel, Peter's Pokedex. He's jazzed about the likes and subscribes, so keep checking out those episodes as well. The first film we're going to get into is the Netflix presented The Lost Daughter. Again, this is Maggie Gyllenhaal directorial debut. This stars Dakota Johnson, Olivia Colman, and Jessie Buckley. And the film is about an aging professor on vacation meeting this woman that just feels familiar to her. This brings back her early years of motherhood, and she sees a lot of herself in Dakota Johnson. Again, this is Olivia Colman as the main character. This is beautifully shot. I really like the focus that Maggie Gyllenhaal is taking here with a directorial debut, just like with last year's Passing. I love these actors that want to step into the directorial chair, and it's great because they put their stamp on cinema. And Maggie Gyllenhaal definitely has a vision. I really like how she explores this very almost erotic thriller. It's very heavy in its dramatic elements, and I really like the cast. We also have Ed Harris and Peter Sarsgaard co-starring in this film. Again, this is a very female-centric film. I really like that even the cinematographer is a female. We don't have too many of those, so great representation. Maggie Gyllenhaal definitely helms this film with finesse. A lot of close-ups. I really like how intimate the film gets with each character. And Jessie Buckley plays a younger version of Olivia Colman. Now you see her trying to get into academia. She has 2 little daughters and an estranged husband, if you will. You can tell that things are not gelling well at home. She wants to go abroad, she wants to study, and which leaves her 2 daughters feeling neglected. And we don't see the daughters when they are older. But again, as an aging professor now on vacation, she meets Nina, Dakota Johnson's character, and there's parallels. You see her interact with her sister. There is a very volatile moment between this family and Olivia Colman. Olivia Colman takes it upon herself to kind of confiscate Dakota Johnson's little girl's doll. And it brings back these haunting memories for her as a mother, how she cared for her daughters, but felt like she neglected them and chose academia. She did have an extramarital affair with a fellow professor as well. So there is that promiscuity that parallels Dakota Johnson. Dakota Johnson is with her man and her daughter, but she's also seeing a member of staff that at this resort that they're both staying at. So Olivia Colman draws the parallels. and she doesn't seem like a good character to follow. She's very selfish. She, again, confiscates a little girl's doll, and this is a doll that feels like, again, this is a remote kind of island area, and it seems like everybody in this resort is looking for this doll, and Olivia Colman just conceals it for reasons we do not know, other than maybe just being selfish. Again, this is bringing back scars in her early years as a mother. And so I really like this interplay with Dakota Johnson and Olivia Colman. This is a very much character study, an actor's clinic, if you will. However, I feel like this film is just seeped in melodrama. This is very dreary, it's very melancholic. It's just seeped in melodrama without any feeling of redemption or any aspirational characters to turn a new leaf. None of the characters seem to want to do so. And by the end of it, it just feels like it's very tragic, but with no reason but being tragic. And for that, I will give this a strong 3 stars. I do want to see what Maggie Gyllenhaal does next. I think she has a great helm as a director, and I just want to see her continue in this trajectory. Going on to our next film, we have The Tender Bar. This is directed by George Clooney. This is starring Ty Sheridan and Ben Affleck. This is a biopic. It's based on a memoir from journalist J.R. In the film, it's Maguire, but Mo Wenger, I think, is the actual person that it's based on. But J.R. Maguire is Ty Sheridan. This is through his eyes. Ron Livingston plays the adult version. He's the narrator. And this tells a story of a little boy that comes to live in his grandpa's dilapidated home in Long Island. And it's about a son and a mother going through dire straits. She leaves her husband and just wishes the best for her son, envisions him going to a prestigious college, and the son takes a liking to his Uncle Charlie. This is played by Ben Affleck. This is one of his stronger roles. I'm glad to see Ben Affleck sinking his teeth into these very endearing and dramatic roles. And this is another one that he can add to his resume. I feel like the strong connection between JR and his Uncle Charlie is what makes this film. But it's very standard by the numbers biopic, and this is available on Amazon Prime. I feel like that it is adequately shot. George Clooney knows where to put the camera. However, it just feels like we're going through the motions with these characters. It feels just too earnest of a film. So I just feel like you are here for Ben Affleck's great portrayal. Ty Sheridan is the young man that you see him through his college years, wanting to aspire to be a great writer. And it feels like an odyssey of this young man with the assistance of his self-taught bartender uncle. And Ben Affleck is here for it, and we're here for Ben Affleck. But outside of that element, I feel like the film is very route. It plays it very safe. It's by the numbers, and by the end of it, you just chalk it up as a very solid drama that you could definitely stream at home, and I would feel like there's no real conviction to go out and venture it if it was available in theaters. I just found it very cut and dry. And with that, I give The Tender Bar a solid 2 stars. It's recommendable, but I didn't really care for it outside Ben Affleck's performance. Going on to Nightmare Alley. Now, this is an ensemble cast by the visionary director Guillermo del Toro. The Shape of Water was his Academy Award-winning last film. And this film, he's feeling like he's stepping outside of his horror monster element. This is definitely a film noir. It is starring Bradley Cooper, Rooney Mara. It's an ensemble cast that we have here. And it's basically about a down-and-out carny, Bradley Cooper's character, that falls in love with Rooney Mara's character until he goes out on his own as a mentalist. He meets a formidable foe in Cate Blanchett, who is a psychiatrist that introduces him to the rich and elite. So he takes his kind of sideshow antics at being a mentalist, but he's definitely a con man who's looking for a big score, and Cate Blanchett provides that for him. Rooney Mara wants to have him get out of it as soon as he can, but he is consumed with greed, he is consumed with pride, and that's where things go wrong for Bradley Cooper. This is also starring Willem Dafoe and Toni Collette. This is a great ensemble cast. The film is 2.5 hours. It's very long. I didn't necessarily feel the running time until maybe towards the third act, but that's where things definitely pick up. It starts out very slow, but then there's this great gradual buildup, and it's a character study of a man that's very flawed. He's very hurt, and there are wounds. However, he's very prideful. He is seeking the big score. He is a swindler. He's a con man, but he's very much in love with Rooney Mara's character. However, his pride gets the best of him as he lusts after Cate Blanchett, who provides him with information on the elite and rich, and that's where things get a little hairy. I really like this trajectory for Guillermo del Toro. Again, he's very based in his creature features with Hellboy, Pan's Labyrinth, The Shape of Water. Again, he's very inspired by these creature features, and this one he's stepping out of his element. This is based on an old film, black and white film noir, and it's his kind of film noir version of a mysterious noir thriller, and I like this trajectory for Guillermo del Toro. Despite its long running time, you do feel lulls in the film. I feel like you do need to track his odyssey in the carnival setting. However, it feels like it stays too long. It overstays its welcome in preparing himself to being a mentalist. And that's where the film just, I feel, loses its steam. But however, I really feel like this is strong directing. This is a great ensemble cast. But by the end of it, you do see the seams coming loose, and it's just not as strong. However, I do really like him stepping out of his creature feature element. I did like The Shape of Water, as you can see in the background. However, I think I liked this film better than that. It's going to be a very hot take, but I do feel like too much creature feature fascination for Guillermo del Toro, even though that is his stamp in cinema. I really like that he takes this huge swing with Nightmare Alley, and this is one of the newest ones that I had the chance to watch. And fresh out of watching the film, I did admire what Guillermo del Toro was doing in this film, and I really do like him seeing to step out of his element. I'm going to give Nightmare Alley a 4-star review. I think this is pretty great. Now we're going to get into Joel Coen's The Tragedy of Macbeth. This is starring Denzel Washington, Frances McDormand, co-starring Corey Hawkins and Brendan Gleeson. This is the tragic, one of the greatest William Shakespeare plays. Denzel Washington is making Macbeth his own. What's very cool is that I did not know that Denzel Washington was fairly unfamiliar with Macbeth. You would think somebody that started out on Broadway. Denzel Washington feels like he's coming back home with this film. He definitely commands the camera. He is very great and solid, and I think that his Best Actor nomination is definitely deserved. You have great backup casting by Corey Hawkins, Brendan Gleeson, and it's just a star-studded event. It's shot in black and white. It feels like a cinematic play. I really like the witches that foresee Macbeth come to being a king. However, you see the greed and the lust for power with Macbeth, and Denzel Washington plays it to the T. I do like the very gothic elements of this film. It feels like William Shakespeare meets Edgar Allan Poe, and I really did like the film aesthetic of this film. It's very strong in this, and I feel like the cast and crew do phenomenal. This is Joel Cohen going in on his own, helming it solely. Usually it is Joel and Ethan Cohen, but Joel is sole director in this film. So I really like Joel Cohen going out on his own and doing something outside of the norm. Again, I like that the Coen brothers usually bring that very satire, very quirky filmmaking, but for him to adopt this very famous Shakespearean play and make it his own, he really does that here. And you could choose to watch it on Apple, but I did see this in theaters, and I'm glad I did. It's a very cinematic experience, and if you have the chance to do so, I would recommend watching it in theaters rather than at home. But with home viewing, at least you could put on subtitles, because it's very hard to follow. It is definitely faithful to the Shakespearean text. So with that, I do like a lot of what's going on in this film. Like I said, I think that the drawback would just be that Frances McDormand is not as electrifying on screen that Denzel Washington is bringing to the table. Not saying that she is a slouch, it just feels like there is a disparity as far as the sharing of the screen. And in fact, they are playing Macbeth and Lady Macbeth. I just felt like there was not very much chemistry between the two. And you would think that this would be something that both actors would sink their teeth into, but I just feel like that the disparity between the two, with Denzel just being electrifying as he is, Frances McDormand is just not keeping up with Denzel. And that would be my only drawback to the film. I really like the way that it's shot black and white. It's almost scary with the elements of the witches coming to Macbeth. And that's what I liked about this film as well. I think it's a very strong 4-star review for the Tragedy of Macbeth. Thank you very much for tuning into the episode called Leftovers. I hope you tune into more of my reviews coming up. We got a lot in store this year. I'm so excited for a lot of films that are coming out in 2022. Thank you very much for choosing Mad Cinema Reviews, and we'll see you on the next one.